Yo, you guys, this is Blacklist of the Abyss, and you are watching my review for World Trigger Chapter 165. Okay, World Trigger. World Trigger is back almost exactly 2 years after its hiatus first started. World Trigger is finally back, and I am pretty hyped about it. I went and I reread the entire series from start till not finish, but hiatus. I went and reread the entire thing, and I fell in love with it even more so than I was before. So I'm really hyped for this. I'm happy it's back. It's back for 5 chapters in Weekly Shonen Jump before it transfers over to Jump Square in January with a cover page and everything. Which at that point it'll become monthly. Which is probably the best. It's for the best for Daisuke Ashihara's health, because even before his hiatus, there were a lot of weeks where he would just miss a week, and sometimes it would be announced ahead of time, and other times it wouldn't be. So it was clear that even before his hiatus, his health issues were catching up with him. So this is probably for the best, and it gives us a consistent release without needing to worry about 2 years worth of absences. So it's best for him, it's best for us, and it's certainly something to look forward to. So I'm definitely hyped for the return of World Trigger. But before I get into this chapter, I just want to do a brief recap. Not of the entire series. I am thinking about doing a video just recapping the entire series up until the hiatus. But if I do that, it's going to be like legit recorded, like with a script written out, and I'm going to be doing like massive editing with it, adding in panels from the manga and stuff like that. So it would end up being an actual project if I end up doing it. But for now, I'll just recap briefly the B rank wars and what's going on in the context of this upcoming match. Essentially, what we have here is Tamakoma 2 wanting to go on the away team. Osamu, after the After Creator invasion, he ended up revealing to the world, to Mikado City. I guess the world, kind of. But we don't really know if the world or even the rest of Japan is dealing with neighbors the way Mikado City is. We really haven't explored the world outside of Mikado City and parts of the neighbor world. So I'm actually curious to see if that comes into play at some point in the series. If we go outside of Mikado City, if we go to other places in Japan or other countries, other continents, are neighbors appearing there as well, or is it literally just this one city? And if it is just this one city, then why isn't the world freaking out? Like, wait a second, you mean there are aliens invading this random town in Japan? Do we have to worry about that? Like, a part of me thinks it's weird that we haven't actually looked at that perspective yet, but with time that might end up happening. For now, we'll just focus on Mikado City. And after the invasion of After Creator, Osamu ended up revealing to Mikado City that that border has the technology to send away teams over to the neighbor world, and that they were going to do that in order to try and bring back all the people who were kidnapped by the neighbors. And in doing that, he ended up moving Border's timeline forward a lot. So at the moment, they only have 3 matches, Tamakoma does, to make it to the top 2 B-rank squads. And once they make it to the top 2 of B-rank squads, they will then earn an opportunity to make it onto the away squad. Just being in the top 2 isn't enough. The top 2 just gives them the opportunity to make it onto the away squad, which Kido did intentionally, because it means he can get everything he wants while still telling Tamakoma no in the end. Though I'm assuming they will go. Chika, at the very least, is going because of the deal that Kido and Osamu and Tamakoma struck. But I'm not going to get too much into that. But that deal did end up leading to Hughes being able to join Tamakoma, which they needed desperately, because while they did win all of their rank wars, with the exception of one, the one that they lost was against 2 of the top squad, literally the top 2 squads in B rank, along with Azuma's squad. Who Azuma is one of the most experienced agents in Border. He has the most respect out of any agent in Border. He's like the one guy that nobody hates, everybody loves. He's skilled, he's experienced, he's the guy, okay? So even if the other members of his squad are like kind of like random, now they're not random characters, but in terms of their designs and the way they're written, they're pretty much just random dudes. But Azuma is still a force to be reckoned with, and Tamakoma got wrecked by those three squads. So they needed to do something different in order to break that ceiling and get into the top 2. And Hughes joining was what they ended up doing. Now, by the time, like, it did take some time to get Hughes to join up, though. So of those 3 matches, one of them had already taken place against the Ikoma squad and OG squad. So now they only have 2 matches left with Hughes on their team to actually make it into the top 2. And this match that we're about to start is one of the most important ones because that's a match that Azuma squad is in, and more importantly, Kageura squad. Okay, and they're number 2 right now. So that's where we're at right now. The match is about to, at the end of the chapter, the match is just about to start. Osamu is just getting into his strategy for what to do. And the chapter essentially breaks into 2 parts. The reveal of the map, and Osamu having his bad feeling. And this same bad feeling was, it was foreshadowed, not even foreshadowed, just said outright in the previous chapter 2 years ago, chapter 164. And Osamu said he had a bad feeling. He said that he felt as if he was, he made a wrong move at some point without even realizing it, and now he's just like, he has his doubts about things. Back in chapter 164, some of the flashback panels that we saw involved him saying that they were improving as a squad, that they would be able to make top 2 of B rank. It was Yuma saying that Chika could actually shoot people. It's just a matter of essentially training her to do it, and conditioning her to it. That's what Toma said. Toma, the top sniper in Border, he said that, yeah, Chika can shoot people. It's just she's not comfortable with the idea of it yet, because psychologically, shooting a person is just not something that people can normally do. And their solution for that was to use lead bullets. But Toma says, yeah, but even using lead bullets, it's still you pulling the trigger. So that psychological barrier is still there. So if she can get over that barrier, she should be able to get over all the other ones as well. People who truly can't shoot they aren't even successful with the lead bullets. They just can't shoot, period, and they need to become engineers or operators or something. So Toma says that Chika can, in fact, shoot people. Okay, but that's another thing that Osamu says, like, oh, I may have my doubts about it. Then there was the flashback panel of Hughes saying that he's just what the squad needed for them to improve. So Osamu has this bad feeling about him making a wrong decision, and that wrong decision has something to do with them making the top 2, with Hughes joining their squad, with Chika being able to shoot people. It has something to do with those things. But there's no way to know exactly which one it is, or if it's any of them at all, and it's just something that all 3 of those have in common with one another. There's just no way to know. But it does have something to do with their ability to move forward as a squad and actually increase their rank. It could also technically have to do with the deal he made with Kido, because the executives in Border did mention after Osamu had left that bringing Hughes with them does not mean they have to keep him alive. They can just kill him right before they get to After Crater, and Osamu didn't think about that. So it could have to do with that. It could have to do with the fact that making top 2 only gives them an opportunity at the away squad, and Kido can literally just say no to them after that, and they still won't get anything. So it could involve that as well. But there's so many things it could be. It could be something vague, it could be something broad, it could be something specific. There's just no way to know. So that will almost certainly become relevant in this next match, because it's been brought up the last 2 chapters, and usually the foreshadowing in World Trigger doesn't really go past like one, not arc, but like one mini arc, one section, one event in the series. So we'll probably figure that out before the final match, at the very least. But that's that. And the second part of this chapter involves the reveal of the map. So Suzunari is the other squad involved in this match. It's Tamakoma, Suzunari, Kageura, and Azuma. And Suzunari, being the lowest ranked squad, they have the ability to choose the map. Okay, and the map they choose is one that is really small, and outside of that, it's it's a map that shooters, gunners, and snipers tend to excel at. However, it's because of that it ends up having these really tall buildings that attackers usually end up going inside. And inside the buildings, that's when attackers flourish, as opposed to shooters, gunners, and snipers. Snipers can't shoot through the buildings, and shooters have difficulty as well. So attackers usually end up naturally going inside and having a lot of indoor combat there. Meanwhile, shooters and gunners and snipers tend to stay outside because they'd be at a disadvantage if they went inside. Just like attackers would be on a disadvantage if they stayed outside. So I feel like we'll have a mix of combat here. Obviously we'll have Kage, Murakami, Yuma, and Hughes. Those four are four of the top attackers in Border. Kage and Murakami just objectively are. They have the actual rank to back it up. Yuma and Hughes don't have that rank yet, but I'm just assuming that they are considered among the top because Yuma has defeated many people, including Hughes himself. And Hughes, during the one day that he interacted with Border agents, he technically beat Ikoma, but it was essentially a tie. It was essentially a 4-4 tie. The 5-4 didn't really count because they weren't official rank wars. They weren't official solo rank wars, so people didn't use any of their best techniques and triggers because Hughes had just become B rank, and he still hadn't gotten rid of his C rank trigger yet. That's all he had, the trainee sword. So in order to give him that handicap, they decided not to use Kogetsu Whirlwind or anything like that. So obviously these Border agents were not at their best when fighting Hughes, but based purely on sword skills, Hughes determined himself that he was between the 4th ranked and 8th ranked attacker in Border. And Yuma beat him most of the time when they were training to try to teach him how to use Border triggers. So these two are clearly two of the top attackers in Border, top 10 at least. Potentially higher than that. No way to really know, especially since Hughes, he uses Kogetsu and Kogetsu Whirlwind, but he also has Viper. So he's an all-rounder, essentially. So there's no way of knowing which he excels at more than the other, especially since there are no point totals to go by. So we'll just have to wait for this match to actually start and conclude to get a feel for what he's best at, and probably both matches, actually. But I'm pretty sure he will end up going inside with Yuma and Kage and Murakami, and we're going to have a big indoor fight there. Osamu could... I'm honestly not sure what Osamu will do, because his big thing right now is using wires. But if everyone's going to go inside, then what's the point of using wires outside? Right? So, maybe you're going to try to block them from going inside, but that doesn't really benefit you either, because then you're just open to Azuma and Yuzuru and Taichi. So, I'm honestly not sure what his strategy is going to be here. I don't think Chika's going inside at all. So Osamu might stay out there with her, but I'll be interested in seeing what next week's chapter says, and how Osamu is going to go about doing this. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just I guess some smaller details about the map is that radar doesn't work as well because people in the building will appear next to you even though they aren't actually next to you because they're at a higher level. The radar doesn't take verticality into consideration. So it'll say that someone's right next to you when they're actually floors above you. So radar is all out of whack. Bagworm is very popular here, but it also leads to meteors being used all over the place, and we know that Kitazoe on Kageura Squad is a big meteor guy. And Koarai on Azuma Squad also has meteor as well. Daisuke Ashihara made a point of having him get meteor in this chapter. He actually went to his operator and said, hey, I specifically want meteor for this stage. So we can anticipate meteors being used, we can anticipate bagworms, we can anticipate both indoor and outdoor combat. But other than that, all we can do is theorize. And I've done a fair amount of that already. So yeah, that's about it for this chapter review of World Trigger. World Trigger's back. I'm hyped for it. This video is pretty late just because I had a lot of stuff going on this week and I had to catch up to stuff, including my JoJo's Bizarre Adventure live reaction, and I still have to do a Gridman reaction. I may or may not do Goblin Slayer. Not sure. But yeah, so that's why the video is late. I'm going to try and catch up to stuff. I'm going to try. JoJo's comes out tomorrow, so I'm about to lap myself here. But yeah, I'm going to try to get that out. I'm going to think about doing a World Trigger recap video, but that'll definitely take time because it's a legit project. So that's that. For now, I will give this chapter of World Trigger a 6.5 out of 10. Because while it was fun to theorize about what's going on, it didn't really do much to actually add to the theorization. It was pretty much me just overthinking everything. So it was more so a setup chapter than anything else. So I'm sure the next few chapters are going to be great. But for now, this chapter gets a 6.5 out of 10. And that's that, you guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at BlacklistOTA. I will see you guys next time.